New York Governor Hochul and the legislature agreed to pass medical aid in dying bill in January 2026. I've posted about this topic before, and here's an edited version of an old video. These physician-assisted suicide laws have passed in many European countries, Canada, and many U.S. states. How have these laws worked out in other places? Here are some headlines. Canada's euthanasia system should be a warning sign to other countries. Canada's euthanasia horrors are accelerating. In Canada, the patient is actually euthanized by the doctor. In contrast, MAID, slated to be a law in New York in 2026, the doctor gives the patient a pill. The patient takes a pill and becomes unconscious. This gives hospital workers the opportunity to harvest the patient's organs. Organs cannot be harvested from a cadaver. The person must be alive. The value of a living body with organs to be harvested was $250,000 in 2011. I've posted about this before, but many Americans are unaware of the 2006 Revised Uniform Anatomical Gift Act. From LifeGuardianFoundation.org. Upon registering at the DMV, your verbal decline stating no when asked whether or not you wish to be an organ donor is not honored. According to the language of the law, you must opt out, documenting your refusal in writing, using explicit language. Otherwise, it is presumed that you have consented to be an organ donor, to be utilized for the purpose of organ donation, transplantation, education, and research. If someone wants to kill themselves, they can kill themselves. Why do we need a law for such a thing? Is this law to help New Yorkers, or is it part of the eugenics program designed to profit off of people who are suffering? Here are some more headlines about how this law has worked in other places. I'm Elizabeth Glass. From heritage.org, how physician-assisted suicide endangers the weak, corrupts medicine, compromises the family, and violates human dignity and equality. From Reuters, physician-assisted suicide is always wrong. From the Netherlands, doctors are euthanizing people with autism, intellectual disabilities. Opinion piece from the New York Post, Europe's cure for autism is euthanasia. 2018, doctors probed for euthanizing autistic woman. Dutch probe appalling euthanasia of dementia patient. Assisted suicide, an American horror story, comes to the UK. Canadian doctors encouraged to bring up medically assisted death before their patients do. How MAID became Canada's 5th leading cause of death. Doctors slam Canada's perverted new law that allows people to be euthanized if they are suffering from mental health problems. Canada Hospital apologizes for mentioning assisted suicide program to woman seeking help for suicidal thoughts. Paralympian athlete rips Canadian government for offering to euthanize her. Alberta dad asks judge to block his daughter's euthanasia, saying the 27-year-old's autism makes her ineligible. Canadian mom desperate to save diabetic 23-year-old from being euthanized. Another Canadian patient euthanized after inability to access prompt oncological care. In Canada, 2022, an investigation into multiple cases of veterans being offered medically assisted death. Committee reviewing euthanasia in Canada finds some deaths driven by homelessness fears, isolation. Ontario man applying for medically assisted death as alternative to being homeless. They're glorifying suicide. Canadian fashion company is slammed for dystopian media campaign that promotes euthanasia as country prepares to open up assisted death to the mentally ill. Woman featured in pro-euthanasia commercial wanted to live, say friends. Anorexic woman 47 who wants to die may soon be able to under Canadian law. Hundreds of sick Canadians euthanized over loneliness. Disturbing. Experts troubled by Canada's euthanasia laws. Canadian woman offered euthanasia after doctor acknowledged she was paralyzed by COVID shot. Ontario man granted euthanasia for controversial post-COVID-19 vaccination syndrome. Model dies by assisted suicide after battling with COVID-19 booster injuries. Canadian woman suffering from long COVID applies for assisted suicide. Disabled woman claims Canada is forcing her to die by assisted suicide. Quote, "It's not what I want." This Canadian doctor euthanized over 400 patients and said she found the work rewarding. And she killed a man who could not consent to assisted death. Here are some groups fighting this agenda. I'm Elizabeth Glass.